Hi there, this is Jessie Blackburn, and welcome back to the podcast for the course guide or the syllabus for our section of English 2001 at Appalachian State. I want to just very quickly point your attention to a couple of course policies and procedures. The first is the class attendance. Attendance is part of your participation grade. As this is an online course, attendance will be measured by the completion of assigned tasks according to their assigned due dates. In order to be counted present for the week, you must complete all of that week's work and draft work that is due that week and due on time. Partial or full credit for completed work will be given according to the level of engagement, completion of tasks in a timely manner, and fulfillment of exercise requirements. And my feedback will be delivered in the form of rubrics, instructor comments, and we will also have an opportunity to virtual conference together with one another, and I am happy to also communicate via email, telephone, in any way that you need to make sure that you're getting the support that you need. The grading scale is your typical 10-point scale. So you can see how the A minus, B plus, B minus range falls out. I want to mention that there are university policies and resources. So Appalachian State University is committed to making reasonable accommodations for individuals with documented qualifying disabilities in order with the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. Those seeking accommodations based on a substantially limiting disability must contact and register with the Office of Disability Services. You can see their website here and their phone listed there. Once registration is complete, individuals will meet with ODS staff to discuss eligibility and appropriate accommodations. If you are registered, please make sure to email me, call me, but make sure that you communicate with me what those disabilities may be and what accommodations you need. Religious observances, you'll be allowed 2 excused absences for religious observances. You are eligible for requesting excused absences for religious observances in writing no later than 3 weeks after the first class day of the term. For purposes of this policy, the term religious observances shall include religious holidays or holy days or similar observances that require absence from this class. Plagiarism, don't do it. It's not necessary. You know what plagiarism is. You are eligible for this course, which means you successfully completed English 1000, where you learned the ins and outs of plagiarism. If you have any question about that, you certainly can familiarize yourself with the Appalachian State University's Academic Integrity Code, and please follow these links right here to reach that code and as well to reach definitions of plagiarism. Students taking English 2001 are expected to follow the Academic Integrity Code. There's a zero tolerance for plagiarism. There are several resources that are available to you. Even though this is an online course, you still have opportunities to engage in your student services. Please feel free to take advantage of the University Writing Center, which has an online component. The library phone number is listed right here, and here is the library's web address. If you'd like to fill out a RAP session request form, which is a research advisory program, that's where students can work one-on-one with a librarian to help identify sources and research material for any of the major assignments. Please do not forget about this very, very useful resource, as well as the University Writing Center. We also have the Office of Disability Services, tutorial services, study skills services, supplementational instruction, counseling and psychological services, Peer Career Center, computer labs, and general math and statistics labs. You'll see all those links are listed beside or beneath each of those resources. Okay, so now I'd like to scroll back up with you and just take a look at the general flow that we'll be experiencing, and I want to go over that peer review guideline and make sure you understand where to find it on As You Learn, and also how to use our As You Learn site. So the way the course works then, we have 5 weeks together, and each week is a module. So week 1 then, or module 1, is outlined by objectives, activities, delivery method, and assessment. You'll see that for every week. See week 2, objectives, activities, delivery method, assessment. And you'll get to know the rhythm of this course. The first week is a little bit different because we don't actually submit a major writing assignment in week 1. Starting in week 2, though, every single Wednesday at midnight, you'll have the first draft of the major assignment due, so that you can then have Thursday to review one another's drafts using the peer review guidelines that we'll go over here in just a minute. So that's the rhythm you want to get into. At the beginning of every week, you pull up As You Learn, you see what are the objectives, what are the activities, what are the delivery methods, how will I be assessed this week? And you'll want to take part in the reading. You'll want to participate in the reading response that gets posted to As You Learn. You'll want to open up the weekly assignment sheet. You'll want to post your rough draft of that assignment by Wednesday at midnight. You'll want to use the review guidelines to then peer review one of your peers, submit that, and then you start that all over again the next week. Okay, so for week 1 then, the objectives are to introduce each other to the course, to orient students to the course objectives, course requirements, expectations, and class delivery methods, assign readings that will frame major assignment number 1, and introduce major assignment number 1, which is the literacy narrative. And that's due at midnight next Wednesday, the second Wednesday of this course. The activities are that we will review the syllabus together. You will have assigned readings in response. You will read the Swales piece entitled The Concept of Discourse Community. You'll read Malcolm X's Learning to Read, Deborah Brandt's Sponsors of Literacy. You'll participate in the discussion forums in which you introduce yourself and understanding of peer review, and you'll read Literacy Narrative Draft 1 Assignment. And that is detailed above, and I'll show you where to find the actual assignment sheet and the podcast that will accompany that assignment sheet on our As You Learn page. After you've read that assignment sheet and you've watched the podcast, every major assignment will have an accompanying podcast. You see here that I ask you to post any questions or concerns on our As You Learn page. If you have a question, the odds are someone else does too, so I'll answer those publicly. And then it shows you here what the delivery methods are: class news forum, discussion forum, textbook, and embedded videos and podcasts by me. And then since we aren't submitting a major writing project this week, your weekly work will be how you are assessed this week. And then you see where we start with week 2. These would be the objectives of the week. These are the activities that you can expect to do that week. You'll see here the Literacy Narrative Draft 1 is due by midnight on Wednesday of week 2. And you will post peer review of a Literacy Narrative Draft 1, which would be due by midnight the next day. And you'll see that those are the delivery methods. This is how you'll be assessed. In week 3, those are the objectives that we will strive to achieve. These are the activities that you will be assigned that week. This is the delivery method, how I will deliver course content and how we will communicate with one another. This is how you'll be assessed based on your draft work, your peer review, and your participation in reading and reading responses. By week 4, we've moved on to the rhetorical analysis. You see the same thing. Those are the objectives for that week. Those are the activities. This is how the course gets delivered that week. This is how you will be assessed. By week 5, the last week of the term, we're focusing on revision and portfolios. These are the objectives for that week. These are the activities. That's the delivery method. That's how you get assessed. So you want to every week go to our As You Learn page and have a look at how things are laid out, what to expect that week. It will be clearly articulated, and every major assignment will have an accompanying podcast. So you want to make sure to read the assignment sheet and watch the podcast in which I go over the assignment sheet with you. I want to point your attention here to the peer review guidelines. This is also located on our As You Learn page, and I'm going to take you to As You Learn here in just a second and show you where to find that. But I want to make sure you understand that every week, or at least weeks 2, 3, 4, and 5, when we are doing peer review work, you will use this right here as your template. You'll complete this, you'll put your name in, the name and the assignment, that the author's name and the assignment title that you're reviewing, and then you'll fill this in. I've uploaded this intentionally to As You Learn in Microsoft Word so that you're able to type directly into this document. And you also have plenty of extra space to add additional comments there at the bottom. But everyone should come to expect this form to be used for peer review. All right? And that's listed here towards the bottom of our syllabus, but let me also show you where you can find it on As You Learn. So here's our Classes as You Learn page. You can see at the very top, you've got my office hours, my Skype contact information, my cell phone number, and my email address. You have the syllabus and the course guide right here, which is of course where you found it. You also have the News Forum tab right here. This will be a way that I communicate with everyone, and you of course are welcome to communicate back. But then you'll see where we were broken down weekly. Here's week 1. These are the objectives for that week. These are the activities. That's the delivery method, and that's the assessment strategies for that week. You'll see in week 1 we have a discussion forum right here. When you click on this, you'll find a prompt from me that tells you what I'd like you to think about in your writing as you respond to the readings for that week. This is the literacy narrative assignment sheet. I have this posted in week 1, but it's also posted in week 2 because it's due in week 2. But I introduce it in week 1. So I have it posted here, but also because in week 2 you'll be working with that draft still, and I want you to know how to easily find that. But in every week you'll see where you have an assignment sheet. Posted right beneath that assignment sheet will be an accompanying podcast, just like the one you found today. If there are any additional readings that are not found in our textbook, any links that are assigned, or any articles that are assigned to you, you'll also see where I would post a PDF in the week that it is assigned. So let's take a look here at week 2. You see how it's laid out. Those are the objectives for the week. These are the activities we'll do together that week. This is the delivery method for that week. This is how the course will be assessed that week. You can see right here, there's the literacy narrative assignment sheet. This is the discussion forum where there will be a prompt for that week's readings. This is where the literacy narrative draft will be submitted, and where you will then submit your peer response to a peer's draft. Right below it you see the peer review guidelines. Now I want to point out to you there's one thing missing right now from this screen, and that is the podcast for this assignment sheet. That's coming. By the time you actually are on our As You Learn page, it will be there. But at the time of this recording, it hasn't been loaded to our As You Learn yet. But have a look, now that the course is built, have a look and see where for every major assignment sheet, right below it, there will be a podcast explaining it. So make sure you know to go there every week. And again, here's week 3, the objectives, the activities, the delivery method, the assessment. Here's the major assignment sheet for the week. That assignment is asked to be written in APA format. So you have a couple of APA style guides right below it. You have the discussion forum for that week. You have the prompt or the forum right here for you to upload your rough draft and for you to upload a review of your peer's rough draft, and you've got the peer review guidelines right here. Again, there will be a podcast that you can access with this assignment sheet by the time this course is actually off the ground and running. And the same thing happens in week 4. You see the same exact rhythm to the course. By the time we reach week 5, you'll come to really understand that rhythm, that you have your objectives, your activities, the delivery method, and the assessment. I want to point out that at the very bottom of week 5, there's an assignment link, and this is where everyone will upload their e-portfolios. But that's it. That's the general introduction to the course. The next podcast that you watch from me should be the podcast introducing you to the literacy narrative. You don't need to watch that right away. That will come later on in week 1 as we get ready to write the literacy narrative in week 2. Welcome to the course. I look forward to our semester together.